Today the news has been dominated by the announcement that British troops will finally be leaving Iraq. Most of them should be home by July. I have mixed feelings about this news. On the one hand, I'm relieved, I'm pleased for the military families who will have their sons and daughters back home by July. Of course, that's a cause for celebration and happiness. I'm also relieved for the hundreds of thousands of Iraqis who have been asking for this withdrawal for so many years, and they'll be very relieved to see the back of an occupying army. On the other hand, I'm filled with much sadness about the devastation that's been wreaked on this country, a totally avoidable disaster. And 6 years on, I think it is important to see what exactly has been achieved with this invasion of Iraq. We will never know the exact number of Iraqis who've lost their lives in this tragic war. Estimates vary from 200,000 right up to 1 million. But what we do know is that 179 British military personnel lost their lives, and I can't help but see the poignancy, for as I leave my office, we have a plaque here which commemorates some of the Birmingham citizens who lost their lives in the Great War of 1914 to 1918, and I'm conscious that as each of those individual names of the 179 people will be called out today, that we remember all of those who've lost their lives. I'm on my way to the Central News Studio where this issue will be debated. I will be interviewed as well as Patrick Mercer, a senior Tory MP.
6 years, 26 Midlands dead. Was it a price worth paying?
Well, to debate that very question, we have former Army officer and former Shadow Defence Minister Patrick Mercer.
And in the studio with us is Salma Yaqoob, who's a Birmingham City Councillor and leader of the Respect Coalition.
And Hans Blix said to me, look, we don't know what is there, but please, 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 parliaments in the West, give us time to find out so that we can allow Western forces to invade unequivocally and legally from the UN point of view.
Okay.
Now, I didn't listen as carefully as I should have done to that.
You were against the war from the beginning, but you must agree that some progress has been made. A brutal dictator is gone, there's democracy in the country.
Well, a brutal dictator has gone, but we have to look at what he's been replaced with. And by all accounts, when you look at the fact that we still have death squads, we still have torture, we still have suppression of whole sections of the Iraqi population. In fact, we've seen increased tensions and violence between the Sunni and Shia communities. It doesn't seem to be all that much different. And in fact, what we've already seen on top of that is over 100,000 Iraqis killed. We've had 179 British military men and women killed, 4,000 American military personnel killed. Of course, the price has not been worth it.
And briefly, do you think Iraq is worse off now than before we went in?
Very much so. Even Basra, I cannot believe that the minister there made an analogy between Basra and Birmingham and Coventry. The American commander early this month himself said 1 in 4 people in Basra have access to running water and only 1 in 10 have access to a sewerage network. This has been an utter disaster. Well, I've just got back from the Central News interview. It was very short, it all went very fast, but on the whole I think it was a balanced piece. If I had more time, I would have liked to have challenged the idea that it's all been worth it because Saddam Hussein, the dictator, has gone. It's true that under Saddam Hussein we saw torture, we saw death squads, we saw power concentrated in the hands of a few powerful cliques, and we saw the suppression of whole sections of the population. But what we're seeing today, 6 years on, actually is not all that different. There's a very interesting article in today's Guardian with a leader. These are all the signs of the day when the dictator emerges. Because now we are still seeing death squads, we are still seeing torture, we're still seeing power concentrated in the hands of a few cliques, and we're still seeing sectarian divisions. In fact, sectarian divisions are on a longer scale not even seen under Saddam Hussein. We have seen ethnic cleansing of whole neighbourhoods.